Hello. Today we're going to talk about kids who are in high school and what parents should be doing to support them. I have found that most parents are unsure of what they need to do to support their kids, and I will share some few tips of some of the things that a parent should focus on and a parent should encourage their child to focus on in the high school level. Remember, a child gets into junior high when they are in eighth grade, and then from ninth grade to 12th grade, they are considered as high schoolers. If you have listened to my previous podcast about kids in elementary school, which I would recommend that you listen to, on that podcast, I talked about exploring your child and helping them learn the basics of learning and in their extracurricular and also in their academics. On this session, you will realize now that you have done most of the exploring during elementary school age, and middle school age, you will then need to be able to start making decisive decisions of choosing and focusing on specific things. So if you're a parent and did not get to pay attention to your child during the middle school, elementary age, it becomes a little difficult to make decisions in high school. So that's why I encourage parents to listen to the elementary school podcast or to listen to the elementary school information that I've shared of what we should be doing. And then when you get to high school, things get easier because your child is confident, number one, in their academics, and then they're confident in some of the extracurricular activities that they may be interested in doing. So the number one thing that you should do is to choose areas of interest, because you realize when they're going into seventh grade, they start getting to choose some of their areas of interest. Seventh grade is like a testing ground. If they feel in seventh grade that did not work out, they have eighth grade to make a change. But once they get into ninth grade, it's now sticking with whatever they have chosen, sticking with whatever they've been building, and making sure that they thrive in that. So you're choosing areas of interest. You're also choosing areas of interest academically. And then you're choosing their extracurricular activities. So when they're going into seventh grade, they get to choose either a sport, they choose theater, they choose different things that the school offers, and they get to participate in those during that seventh grade year, or the first semester, and they have an option to choose something else the second semester, depending on the school again. This is for them to be able to explore and to find what they're thriving in. So at this age, you realize we're not exploring anymore like we did in middle school or elementary school. We're now choosing. And once we make a choice, sometimes we're made to stick with it, or sometimes we're made to do it up to where we have an opportunity to drop it again, maybe when going into high school. The other thing is that we, as parents, we should always remember we have to manage our kids' weaknesses. By saying that we need to manage our kids' weaknesses means that you have to know what are your strong areas for your child, both academically and with the extracurriculars. With academics, I've given tips when I was talking about the elementary school kids. You will always have to do extra work. If it's tutoring, if it's trying to get them a professional help to make sure that they're getting the professional help that they need to do better in subjects that they're not great at, and also helping them to keep practicing and continue to do great in subjects that they're good at. So you have to help them do that balancing in managing between their weaknesses and their strengths. What I once told my son is that it doesn't matter what is your weakness or your strength, you have to bring the grades home. So if you bring very good grades in math, but you're bringing terrible grades in languages, it's not helping you, because in the overall, it should be helping your GPA, it should be helping your academic performance as a whole. So you have to be able to make them understand, even though it's not their strong point, they have to work a little harder to get a good grade. They need a good grade. And you will see why as we continue talking through this topic. Plan and prepare for college admission. This starts at ninth grade, but now you have to have done some pre-planning when the child is in seventh grade, in eighth grade, and also now in ninth grade is where they're deciding, and whatever they decide to encourage them to stick with it. Because some of the times the kids, if you've prepared them since elementary school, by the time they're going into ninth grade, they know exactly what they want, they know exactly where they want to do it, they know exactly how to go about getting to where they want to go, especially college-wise. But if this preparation had not started in early ages, it becomes a very confusing and stressful time for both the child and the student, because they're not sure, they haven't explored enough with the parents, they haven't tried out different things with the purpose of knowing what's their strength and what is of more interest to them. So I encourage parents and students to always do the exploration on the big summer breaks. You realize the school system in the US gives you opportunities to do some of the things that I'm advising you to do, because that's the only way you can be successful in it. It's a system that you have to be able to understand, to navigate, and this is where I come in when I'm coaching my students, and also when I'm coaching the parents on how to help their students. So the thing with the students in eighth grade, in high school, junior high, then high school in ninth grade, they have to take challenging classes. These are opportunities that most kids and parents miss, because most of the time the kid does not communicate to the parents some of the stuff that they're told to do in school. Especially, I've learned that most of the kids don't even make their parents aware that they've been asked to choose classes. You have to be present when your child is choosing classes, so you can encourage them to either take challenging class or to show them some of the things they will need to take to be able to thrive in high schools. I have seen, like, my child, when she was choosing her seventh grade classes, she decided she doesn't want to do so many advanced classes. Although I know she's capable, she did not feel confident enough to go directly into advanced classes. She took a couple and decided that she will see how that goes and then take more the next semester. I don't push her. I just advise her, I encourage her, and she makes her decisions, and then we support her through the decisions. You have to be present to do things like those, to tell them, yes, you can do this. And if they push back, or if they feel they can't do it, then you work with them to show them that it's going to be okay. You're still sticking with them and helping them as they progress. The next thing is that you have to encourage your child to be involved in special programs. Some of the special programs that you can encourage your child to be involved in is, if you find that your child is very, very, very confident and can be involved in, like, debate, they can be involved in theater, things that will elevate their confidence, and also will also help them with opportunities when it comes to applying for college. What I advise parents to do is to check the balance between their child's education, and also check the balance between extracurricular activities. If your child gets so carried away by extracurricular activities, then they perform not so good in school, in their grades, then you will have to help them balance that and help them understand that both are important, but the education part is the most important part. So if they're not doing great in that, there will be no need for them to be doing the extracurricular activity until they have their school grades well done. So those are things that parents have to work hand in hand with students, just to make sure that they're getting that and they're accomplishing what's needed. Expose your child to adults in the fields that your child may be interested in. Again, assuming that you've done most of the exploring with your child, you've kind of narrowed down to about 3, 4, 5 careers that they would maybe be interested in, then you start trying to expose them to adults who are in those careers. For example, if your child is interested in law, start exposing her in the law field. Maybe you have a friend who's a lawyer, let them talk to them. Maybe you have a friend who has a law firm, let them go volunteer there. And I will be soon doing a video about the importance of volunteering. And so those are the things you do with your child to start exposing them in the field so that they can start seeing what they're interested in and how it will play out when they're there. Some may lose interest, then again you go back to the drawing board, and some may totally fall into wanting to do that, and you see them thrive through the process because it's something that they want to do. They end up thriving in it. Plan to take and retake standardized tests in high school, especially between 9th and 12th grade. The schools are set up in a way that they start walking the kids through the standardized test. These are exams that a student has to take that is important in grade-wise for their college admission. I know during COVID, most of the schools made those standardized test grades optional. That was because most of the testing centers could not open because of COVID. There was issues with scheduling. There was issues with online tests. But now schools have started going back into looking at the standardized test results and considering those when admitting students to college. The only thing that I tell students, whether a school has those scores for standardized tests as optional or not, you have to realize that when you're doing your FAFSA, when you're trying to apply for scholarships and grants, organizations tend to look at those scores. So doing them whenever you are allotted time to do that between 9th and 12th grade, and making sure that you do great in those tests, it's a big plus for you as a student when you're trying to apply for scholarships and grants or just trying to apply for any financial aid to go to college. So I encourage my high schoolers to always use their summertime to practice online on standardized tests, to take them, and some have opportunities to take more than once. And what I've seen is that with those scores, kids have had opportunities for full ride scholarships. They've had opportunities for admission to colleges that they never thought they would because they had great scores and they were standing out just on the standardized test and also on their grades. At this age, between the 9th and 12th grade, I call it the fourth quarter for you as a parent, is the last leg for you to raise them and to teach them things. So I always encourage parents to teach your children life skills. And when I say life skills, is the basics between some of the things that they will have to do when they go out on their own, when they're living on their own. Talk to them about some of the expectations in life. Talk to them about how bills are paid. Talk to them about how much income it would take for them to be able to manage a life maybe in a dorm versus an apartment. Let them understand how much things cost, and let them understand how much work it takes to get that money to pay for those things, so that whenever they become adults, they do not have this shock when things start turning out and they need to pay bills and they have no clue what to do. Teach them how to cook, teach them how to clean their clothes, teach them how to clean a house, not just their room. Teach them all these things so that when they're leaving your home, they have the life skills that they need to survive, as I call them, as responsible human beings. So I just throw that in there because I realize some parents just do things for their kids. Some parents just do them just to make sure that the kid is comfortably studying or is comfortably in school, but they miss out on this, and then the kid becomes a very educated but very dysfunctional person as an adult. So I encourage parents to volunteer with your kids, to volunteer by yourself, to teach them the importance of volunteering, because I know volunteering is critical in anyone's life, in their career, in just your personal life. And I will be doing a next podcast or video about the importance of volunteering in a personal, professional level. So look out for that. So in summary, for a child to be successful in high school, it means that they have successfully been admitted to college, or they've got into the next level of training for their career, without having to suffer because they maybe did not prepare well, or maybe they did not know the things they needed to do. I've highlighted most of the key things that they need to do to choose the areas of interest, to choose extracurricular activities that suit them, and sometimes they may not even need them. So it depends on how your child functions. And then for you as a parent and a child to work to manage the weaknesses, and then to prepare for college admission. The one tip that I will leave you with is that for a child to be able to be successfully admitted to college, they have to have an application that is outstanding. For a child's application to be outstanding for college admission, they will have to have the following. They will have to have awards and honors. They will have to have great grades. They will have to have great scores on the standardized tests. They will have to have a track record of showing that they've succeeded in completing advanced classes, advanced placement classes, and show that even with that, they were able to manage all these other extra things they were doing. They have successfully completed a rigorous curriculum and have come out outstanding. The reason I say that is because when they're applying for college, those that are looking at those applications want to see that the child had a demanding schedule, had a busy schedule doing either advanced place classes, doing a sport, doing maybe a debate club, doing specific things, strategic things that look good on paper for the student, as I tell my students. And they were successful in all of them. You don't have to be like all the way to the top, but you have to be doing really good in the A's and the B's to be able to be looked at and to be considered as a child who will thrive even in college. They take that as a measure for showing that you are ready to take up the rigorous schedule of a college level education. So that becomes as a plus for the student, and it helps students easily get into colleges and easily get scholarships for colleges. So in summary, make sure you're working with your child as a parent, and as a student, make sure that you're working as hard as you can to have things that are looking good on paper, making sure that your grades are great, making sure that if you're playing a sport, your stats are good, make sure that you're practicing and doing standardized tests and making sure that you ace those, and that will help you in the long run. Thank you for listening to this. I appreciate your time. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me, I do that, so you can always book your appointment with me on my website, www.eltconsultingsolutions.com. The information, my contact information will be below this recording. Thank you.